the research I've done into this, and nothing happens.
Yeah, I would highly doubt if anything would happen.
Hey guys, and we are live. Just want to give people a little sample of the pre-chat that's going on. So, guys, welcome back to Caliber Corner, episode number 81. We are a slow-moving group this morning, but we are waking up this morning. What's that, Foos?
It's number Terrell Owens.
Man, yeah.
Sorry, I'm not even a football fan, and I don't know why that popped in my head. I'm sorry,
man. It's all good. Don't worry about it. We need some laps this morning. We need to definitely stay warm. We need to stay highly caffeinated, which we will do. Let's go ahead and take attendance here.
Face, you can laugh all you want.
You see, we can barely see your face. You're like in the lower. You're co-witnessing a lower 1/3 on the screen right now, Foos.
Well,
that's what you.
If I put my camera down, you really see how fat I am.
No, you're just husky, man. Come on. Your mama says you're just big bone.
Well,
I'm almost 300 pounds. Shut up.
We all are. Don't worry about it, except for Tony. But
I figure if I set my data on the lowest possible setting, I don't have to look at none of you ugly suckers.
We're just all pixelated out. We're just oh man. So anyway, let's check in and see who's joining us this morning. Over on the gun channel side, I saw Tony was the first person to check in, and Tony's over here. Let's see if we have our usual suspects. We got some Sean Pondery going on over there. We got Paper Plane Crash going on over there. Sean wanted me to tell you that you are fluffy, Foos. You are fluffy. All right, so let's go and check out and see who's over on the YouTube side. We got Tacos and French Fries checking in. Frank the Tank Hellman's with us. Patriot in the Dark. Hootie Who in the house. Guys, make sure you check out Hootie Who's channel. Justin Haycook's over there. Cadillac Jack. SS Pawn Stan is with us. Casino Boss is out there. Kiwer, Kiwwer is with us. Ozzy Orsborn, as usual. Drucifer's with us too. Marty Huggins Jr. is with us. And Calaveras is there and here. Is that about it? That looks like that's about it. I'm sure we'll have a lot more people joining in as we get going. Tahuya P229 in the house, Roosid Films, and Scott P79, and Nemo Brown. Gun Loving Grandpa Stanley's with us too. All right, guys, we did start a bit early.
Why the hell are all these people awake at this hour on a Saturday?
Because Tony, they want to see you. They want to hear you talk. They want to be blessed by the words that you have to christen them with, Tony. That's why they're here to have a good time. Chances are they're probably married and they got to go run errands for their significant other anyway. So why not just listen to us? We'll make your day a lot more enjoyable. Get your coffee on, guys. Oh, John Z is out there too. Georgia Trucker 69. $5 already. Martin Korf, thank you so much, sir. Dude, that was going into the reloading fund. What's that? Coffee money. Coffee money. I'm drinking exponential amounts of coffee. And cheap plug, I've been testing the Blackout Coffee Company coffee on the channel. It's good stuff. I really do like it. Very, very strong. They got one called Brutal Awakening. 2 cups of that stuff, and I'm basically set for the day. There's enough caffeine in it. Enough caffeine in it to kill a small woodland creature. I'm not kidding you. This stuff, but it's not hard to drink. That's the worst part about it. It just goes down.
Good thing you're a big woodland creature.
I've been getting the faculty at the high school where I teach all jacked up on it too. They've been stopping out for cups of coffee, so people are like addicted to it now. Because I've been using the percolator in my class or the brewer in my classroom, so you can like smell it all through the hallway. So grind the beans, sitting here looking over homework. Anyway, enough of my problems. So, yeah, let's go and let the panel introduce themselves. With age comes wisdom. So, Tony, we're going to let you go first.
Good morning, people. Y'all know who the hell I am.
Yes, we do.
Who are you? Who are you, Tony Stark?
Nobody.
Tony Stark. Tony Stark. We all need nicknames now. So, Tony, what have you been busy doing lately, man? What's new in your world? What you been up to?
Trying to keep warm.
I hear you, man. Same here.
About it.
I mean, seriously, we have a nice, I'm in the basement. We've got, the house is heated. I'm still constantly either wearing a stocking cap walking around the house, or I've got my coat on. It's because it's like 12 degrees outside. I mean, it's still crazy, crazy cold out there. I just cannot wait till the spring, man. So Tony, yeah, go ahead.
Day before yesterday, it was like 56 degrees here, and I turned the heat down in the garage.
Yeah, last Wednesday we were 55, dude. I had shorts and a t-shirt on. I was gonna mow. I was like, I might get that one last mow when I didn't get last fall. And then it snows that night. We get 4 inches of snow the next day, and the North Pole returns. So.
And I forgot to turn the heat back on.
Say what?
Yeah,
Oh, didn't you wake up? It's like 55 degrees in the house. It's like, what the hell?
Not in the house, out here in the garage.
Well, yeah.
And it was like 30 in here.
Tony, you've got yourself the ultimate man cave. You're dedicated when your man cave is more important than your vehicles. That is the sign of definitely of some dedication, man. Oh, God.
Well, this is set up so the vehicle should fit in here, but we've got junk in here that it won't.
Move that stuff out, man. Sell and go buy guns with what you sell. I'm telling you. All right. So, Tony, thanks for joining us as usual. Squib is in the house. What do you know, Squib?
I know that this first cup of coffee is tasting real good.
You sound a lot better than you did when you first signed in. So
that's because while you guys were talking about overpriced guns on classic firearms, I jumped in the shower real quick to soak my head.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't want to know about your sexual preferences.
Oh my God. Come on, man. We're a family show. Keep it.
As soon as Travis started talking about the Saint, and I just said, I feel filthy. I got to take a shower.
Well, check out. Weird, guys. I don't know if I'm losing my mind, but I jumped on Classic Firearms this morning like I do just to see what they have. I always click on the new tab, and the Saint ARs are going for like $900. I don't understand.
Wasn't this thing overpriced to begin with, though?
Oh yeah,
yeah. I'd rather have a Colt, or I'd rather have. For $200 more, I can get an FN and get something that's battle tested. You know, I'm like $900, and I'm looking at it. It doesn't really have anything that really makes it stand out. The furniture, I believe, you can buy now. It has a little like tensioning pin on the rear that tightens the upper and the lower together, but. I don't know, I'm like $1,200. I thought maybe the price of ARs just tripled overnight, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do pretty soon. So you better hurry up and go buy one, people. But still, so anyway, yeah.
I'll tell you something, man. I found a way to make yourself feel considerably better, less stressed, and richer, and that's not look that shit up.
I was gonna say, just don't buy them. Anyway,
don't even look at them.
Let's keep going with the intros. All right, so Squib, where can we find you, man? Where can we find you? Where are you at?
I've got a couple videos on guntube.org, and I've got a couple on gunstreamer.com, and mostly the YouTubes. I've got more videos made or that need editing or that I'd like to revise than I probably have published. But talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. I need to make more videos. I'm kind of having fun with this. Sometimes it's like work, but overall I'm having fun with it. And for me, it's a hobby. For some people, I know it's more than that, and that's fine. We all kind of have our different things, and that's one of the great things about the community is we all have different things to bring in, or we have different reasons and stuff like that. And sometimes that can also be a weakness for the community too. But I'm having fun making videos. I know I need to invest some more into this to make. Probably to get over some of the things that I'm not liking about my videos, but otherwise, just having fun with it. So,
Squibby, you sound more dejected than I think I've ever heard you sound, man. You all right?
Yeah, man. Why?
He's just tired. He hasn't had his first cup of coffee has not kicked in yet. He does not have his morning dose of caffeine. So,
yeah. The best part of waking up is getting a kick in your butt from Tony.
Well, I thought maybe it was going to be from the wife, Oh, all right, man.
I wasn't kicking you in the butt. I was just asking.
Am I the
no?
only
Sometimes a good kickstart is good. I'm not, dude. I'm good.
Am I the only one that coffee really doesn't do anything for me? Like,
you need to drink more. You need to find a better way.
No, I've had a pot of coffee and been asleep in like 30 minutes.
I'm with you, Boost,
Let me drink coffee and go right to sleep.
I mean, the reason I drink it is, number one, taste, and right now I've had sinus issues, so it helps clear me up in the morning.
Then you just don't make your coffee strong enough.
Yeah, you need to look into a better roast. Or I'll send you something tasty that you can brew up that'll work for you. So we'll get you. We'll get you hooked up.
It better already be ground because I don't have a grinder.
We'll work on that. We might have to invest in one for you.
I like my coffee strong enough that you about gag.
I agree with you on that too, man.
And I drink it all freaking day long, go to bed,
There you go. Well, that's why you wake up all the time, Tony, because you're just nothing but fueled on caffeine. So,
no, I woke up
grinders
early this morning because I went back to bed yesterday because it's so friggin' cold in here.
Yeah.
$23 for a coffee grinder?
Yeah, but they'll last you. I've had the same one for 15 years. They last forever. You know.
$18?
You can spend whatever you want on anything anymore. I'm sure there's $1,000 one out there designed by Porsche that you can buy. You know.
Oh, I'm just looking at Amazon. $139.
See, I
you can
told
use
you.
it for other stuff if you need a finder grind of gunpowder,
You
man.
take your grinder powders with it.
Yeah, just
This
throw
is
your
my
beans
job
in
at
the
number 7,
tumbler.
smokeless black powder.
Hold on. Here's a digital super automatic espresso machine with latte system black. $1,600.
There you go. That why buy a car when you can buy one of those? You know, I mean,
there's people that buy that.
there are. I know people like
that's
me
for
who
Travis.
get stuff like that. Now, it's something I would do. All right, so let's go on with the introductions. Let's give everybody a chance to plug their channels, and then we can fire it up. So Sandhills, what's new in your world, man? What's going on, bud?
Good morning. Thanks for the invite. I am heading into work today, so I'll hang out while I can.
We got a little two-way Tuesday action going on this Tuesday. Is that the plan right now?
That's going to be the plan. Everything is finally done as far as excitement in the family, I believe. So, yeah, for those of you that didn't hear, I was in Omaha last Tuesday night. My mother-in-law went in the next day to receive a kidney from an anonymous live donor. And we don't know any of the particulars, but apparently there's a pretty good sized chain of donations going on where people go in with somebody who's not a match, but they mix and match everybody, so everybody gets a kidney. It's a cool deal.
We should probably mention that started in Nebraska, right?
Yep.
That particular program. There you go. Another reason to move here. We have kidneys for you. So now it was hard for me to not say anything because last week a lot of people were saying, "Why isn't Sandhills doing a show?" I just said, "Look, he's got a family thing. It's legit. He's not going anywhere. People are worried about you, man."
Well, I appreciate it. So, nope, we will be back at the regular time Tuesday night, 9 Central, and this week we're going to have Mike Podini from Walk the Talk America join us.
Cool.
So it should be good times. Should be a good chat.
Awesome, man. Good deal. All right. Well, thanks for joining in. And, when you got to head off to work, I got you. So
let me be here.
All right. David Bowling, the Kingpin, is with us. David, what do you know, man? What's going on? How you doing today?
Not too bad. What's happening, everybody? Thanks for having me, Travis.
Not a whole lot, man. So tell us about your channel. What you got coming up, dude?
I'm not really too sure. I got the one thing that I will talk about is there's going to be a GunTube exclusive coming out.
Sweet.
It'll be aired tomorrow.
Okay.
And the only thing I'll talk about it will be featuring sports shooters ammunition.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Oh, you're just
you know what?
Everybody.
I got to be honest with you. I like the layout of guntube.org. If you guys haven't been over there, check it out. I like how the videos float. I like how you can leave the comments. It's just a nice, refreshing change from YouTube. And I believe we can go live over there too, which a lot of other social media sites don't offer yet. So, or you have to be in the club if you want to go live on their social media sites and things like that. I think Gunstreamer is going to be adding live streaming here soon.
I hope so, because I intend to restart the early watch only on GunTube.
Oh, no, GunTube. Yeah, no, GunTube, you can go live now, Tony. You can go live over there if you want to. It's ready to go. You just have to set it up and run it. Night Strike can take us through that. I wish he was here because he could tell us a little bit more about it, but it is over there if you want. And the nice thing about it is you can do whatever you want. In fact, when I set up my reloading setup, everything reloading is right. I got my reloading table now, by the way, and everything reloading related is right here. We're going to do a live stream, and you guys are going to walk me through loading my first rounds. And I mean, I've got everything now that I need to do it. I just got to get the box out, go through all the stuff, get the press set up. So who knows? It could be a fairly long podcast, but I couldn't do that on YouTube because I'm reloading ammo. So, I'm going to get
lots of
reloading
videos on YouTube.
Oh, I know, but they had their don't manufacture ammo stipulation that came out. My luck, I'd be the guy that gets dinged for it,
It ain't
according to IG 888888, you can reload.
Oh, did he come out and said he can do that?
He's got a YouTube guy. He's so big, he's got his own rep. And he went on air and he said, you can reload on YouTube. You just can't manufacture.
It ain't manufacturing if you're using used cases, man.
Yeah, I mean, if the stuff's already...
he's talking about you actually show how to, I guess, make it from raw material kind of manufacture, kind of.
So,
like, so people want to smelt their own bullets, that would be banned.
I would think it would take a little bit more than that, but
it's manufacture.
No, it's recycling. It's reshaping.
Hey, Foos, real quick, guys. Real quick, Foos, why don't you go ahead and plug your channel, and we'll get over to Calaveras, and then we'll get into discussion, because I hate making everybody wait. So go ahead, man.
Foos on YouTube. That's F_U. If you just type in FUSS, you probably won't find me. I've tried to figure out how to remove that, and in the search criteria it won't. But my channel is just nothing but me shooting USPSA. I am a master in production, 2018 Arkansas production champion, and I'm also the owner of SA Sports Shooters Ammunition at gmail.com, and on the Facebooks and on gun channels I am SS Ammo. I have 125 grain 9mm for sale. Small ammo company that I've created at last fall, and I have reviews from a couple people on this chat. So yeah, go ahead and pick some up. If it doesn't pick up, I don't know if it'll be here around next year, because insurance costs $1,400, and if I can't, at least make that, at 4 or 5 cents a round profit, yeah. So,
well, once we get your website up and running, man, you'll be able to do online sales, and people can buy it right there, because it's that convenience factor. I mean, I'm buying from you anyway, because then once it warms up, I'll be buying a lot more once I can actually get out more.
That's another thing, is it is because it's cold. I think that's one reason.
I mean, honestly, as much as I'd love to go out and shoot, it is difficult to want to stand out and film for an hour, when I'm out. I mean, that's the only bad thing about having this kind of weather out here. But what I've shot so far has been fine. I mean, I've already burned through almost the entire 500 rounds that you've sent, though I bought,
So right now I have 125 grain. I can hand roll 147s for people if they want it. I have a guy at work that's he has a couple suppressors, and he's gonna go ahead and pick some up and make sure they work and everything. Okay. And he has a Walther that has really short chambers, so we'll see how all that stuff works. And yeah.
Cool. All right, and Calaveras, hey man, what's new? Welcome.
And thanks for inviting me. Coming to you from behind enemy lines, trying to fly under the radar, so that I don't have a knock on the door like the guy who had his AR pistols confiscated this last week.
Yeah, it's one step away from Gestapo, but yeah.
Yeah, that's for. I'm on YouTube, Gunstreamer. I don't upload to GunTube as much as I probably should, but I try to be selective about what I put over there, so that way it's appropriate for the platform. Mm-hmm. Twitter, Instagram, and I'm working on setting up a web page, so that way I can have a link to there, then I'll disseminate to everything. But
okay. Cool, man. Cool. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you got a great channel. So everybody on this panel here, guys, do check out their channels and make sure that you do subscribe. We've already got a question this morning, guys. This is from Sean Newman. He says he's serious. I was going to see if you posted some later comments. And this is something to think about here, because not everybody's got disposable income for firearms. A lot of people might be on fixed income. A lot of people are on disability. I mean, I spend, this is my only hobby. What you're seeing here, the channel, I put everything I make back into it. I spend all my allowance on guns and ammo, basically. And so Sean Newman says, hey, Chad, and this is a public comment from him. He says, my house is being foreclosed on. I have to move. What's top guns for living in an economically depressed area? I'm actually serious about this. So, Sean, let's just assume that you might only have a gun or two, maybe some pistols for home defense. You don't have a lot of money. Every dime is going to be used. Guys, what could you recommend? What would be the best deals for home defense? We're assuming it's going to be a home defense firearm, just to have something in the house.
High Point.
Okay, so High Point's going to put you at about $160, right?
So it sounds like he already has a firearm.
Yeah, I asked him, I said, do you have any guns? I haven't heard. But let's just say that somebody doesn't have any. They're moving to a place where now they do have to worry about their personal safety. Maybe they're not going to be in that gated community anymore with that home security system that they used to have that's always online. All right, what does a person want to use? What should a person have? What do you guys recommend?
High points are okay. I would look into Milsurp. Again, I've been raving
Star BM for under $200.
Yep.
You can get Star BM for $225 roughly after transfer.
Yeah, I mean, I could hit 100 yards with that all goddamn day.
Taurus G2Cs are 210. You're probably gonna have to pay, a transfer fee if you get one. You're looking at 230. I recommend that because you got 210 round mags, and they're great pistols. We own several within our family. What about shotguns? What do you guys think about a nice pawn shop find 12 gauge? Yes, no?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Just check the used rack at the gun stores or go to the pawn shops to see what you can pick up used but in good condition.
So, for home defense, is a shotgun necessary?
If you already have it, it works.
If you already have, yes.
It depends on the size of the home. If it's a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, probably not. If you've got a big yard or a couple acres, then it's a very versatile tool.
You have to think. He said that his house is getting foreclosed, and he is either moving to an
area that's just a lower. You could just say maybe an area with lower economic status, which doesn't mean anything, but it could also mean in some areas you could be looking at places that have a higher crime rate.
Right. Yeah. So you're most likely not going to have a lot of land.
He dropped it into the comments. They said, he has the basics, couple rifles, shotguns, and pistols, but he may have to sell some.
So
it sounds like he's trying to figure out what to keep.
So, honestly, my opinion, rifles and shotguns could go. I mean, yes, you need them, but for your house defense, a not good 9mm pistol, because you could dry fire the living crap out of it and do all of your practice you need to do to defend your house and your home without spending a dime on ammo.
Yeah, I'm with Bruce on this. Plus, the ammo is cheap.
It is cheaper. Go out and buy 50 or 100 rounds of your self-defense. Go out, buy, sell that AR, buy the 500 rounds of self-defense ammo, or 100 rounds, and buy 500 or 1,000 rounds of ball ammo. Go out, shoot 50 a month, dry fire the living crap until you have calluses on your hands, buy a couple spare parts, look and see what spare parts break on it, because every gun, if you dry fire them enough, they will break. Striker, spring, stuff like that.
I'll get some snap caps too, if you can, depending on how you want to. If you have a semi-auto, but
I mean, really, unless you have there's a firing pin block, not a firing pin safety, a firing pin block, where that striker impacts that, you're not going to need a safety cap. But again, safety, they're cheap.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm looking over on Bud's Guns right now. You can get the High Point 9mm carbine for $254 with free shipping. You can get the 380 High Point carbine for $214. I mean, we're talking 380, but I'm just saying, if you've got a 9mm handgun and you got the 9mm ammo, you want to save money. Get the High Point 9mm carbine for $254. Or, the magazines are also compatible with the 9mm pistols too. So that'd be one way that you could kind of share between two different firearms. And the magazines are only $20-some, $18 for a 10-round magazine, $18.05.
I have yet to hear a review of that High Point carbine that said it was bad.
Oh, no, same here. I had one of when they first came out, I had one back in 1999. I bought one with the original stock on it. They call it the Planet of the Apes gun because it looks like those rifles I carried. And it was fine. I mean, I never even took it apart and cleaned it. I wipe out the inside of the chamber, receiver and stuff, clean out the barrel. And I'd never had a jam. They're kind of a bear to disassemble and clean. But, I mean, all across the board, I mean, they're just a blowback carbine. You really can't go wrong with that. You could have some issues with the feed lips on the magazines. That's one complaint that people do have. If you hold out long enough, within the next 12 months, the new High Point C9 is going to come out, and that's going to be a double stack. And they were talking 15+1 with the suppressor ready. And,
anybody know what High Point's warranty is?
Lifetime, regardless of owner.
I was thinking.
Yep, I sent mine in. I broke mine, taking it apart. I broke it. I don't know how, but I did. And I sent it to them for $25, and they sent it back repaired with a second mag for free. They threw a magazine in there. They did a test on it. And they gave me a full color instruction manual on. They printed it off for me too on how to properly disassemble and clean it. I can't. I mean, I have no complaints whatsoever. And that was on a 45. That was on the 45 that I had.
Blue Steel 44 makes a good point on the YouTube side.
Yeah.
He says, where'd he go? He said, definitely wait a few months before you sell the AR. And, you know, I mean, it makes sense unless you need the money like immediately.
Yeah.
If you can hold on to your ARs, if things start getting hairy in the assault weapon market, then you'll get more money for it later.
Yeah,
you
Sean
might be looking at
below that.
What's that?
He had, Sean answered below that he has 2 ARs and an AK. At least 2 are going to go.
So I would say, honestly, the AK and an AR.
Yeah, you mean as the 2 to have for home defense or the 2 to hold on to, Foos?
The 2 that are going to go. Keep one AR sounds like to me.
Yeah,
man, if you could sell in a couple months for $500 or $600, but yeah. After Sandy Hook, I paid 2 weeks before Sandy Hook, before prices went down, I paid $650 for a DPMS Oracle, and I didn't know anything about guns back in the day. I just saw it as one of the least expensive ARs that was out there, and that was before I even knew what PSA was or some of these other brands. And I mean, if you're not careful, you can really spend a lot of money, but you can also make a lot of money too selling them.
So a buddy of mine during that whole thing, he ended up buying an AR. He bought I think it was a DPMS.
Yeah.
And wait, no, it wasn't that. It was some gun that I was like, dude, that's like a $400 gun. He paid $1,100 for it.
Oh yeah. I think didn't NEA Matt sell one of his also during the crisis or whatever you want to call it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. So you got a lot of options out there, but hold on to those rifles if you can. But like you said, you can sell one and buy a bunch of ammo and get yourself all stocked up, buy some extra mags, and have one good handgun with, get yourself a nice pistol, maybe put a tack light on it.
I wouldn't sell the rifles at all. The rifles are only going to go up in cost. Ammo is always going to be there. There might be some panic buys and some ammo shortages, but since our past 2 or 3 ammo shortages, we've got a lot more players out there. And look at companies like Hornady. They built that second big factory.
Yeah.
So I don't think ammo shortages are going to be as bad in the future, but I think they're going to be there. And when you've got more and more of these states where they're making it harder for you to buy ammo, that kind of frees some up for the rest of us. Sorry, guys. But I would not. You will regret it if you have to go back later and buy those guns. If you can't stand those guns, if you don't like them, if you're like, it's just too much hassle, it's too heavy, whatever it is that you just don't like about it, fine. But if you like them, don't sell them because later you will pay more to replace them if you can replace them at all.
Talking about ammo too, I've been seeing cases of 1,000 rounds of Wolf for $193 being advertised, with free shipping.
For what?
Or you do the NEA thing.
762 by 39.
During our last panic buy shortage, NEA said when you're at the store, pick up a box here, a box there every payday. A box here, a box there. Now I know buy the box is more expensive than buying a case. But at the end of the year, you've got a case or more, and you didn't miss the money. If money's tight and you really can't invest it into buying in bulk or reloading, just pick up a box here, a box there on payday. I guarantee you, I've done it a couple times. It was great advice. And especially if you shop sales and things like that, if there's anything in your area. I mean, if you live in the middle of nowhere and you have to have everything shipped in, then I guess you're screwed. But I would not sell those rifles if you like them. Not for ammo. I mean, ammo, really? That's like selling your rifle for cleaning supplies. So,
and I know we're preaching to the choir here, but now is the time to go get yourself an AR. We're not just saying that because we're fans of the industry. I mean, the fact you can go to, say, PSA and get yourself a $200 upper and a $129 lower, and then just get yourself a mag and some sort of a flip-up rear sight, and you're basically ready to go. DPMS Oracles are $399 over DEguns.net. I mean, that's this is as cheap. I mean, the fact that these ARs are now cheaper than handguns. I mean, that alone is telling you that it's just a basic handgun.
So the question was, to me the question is, I need to sell these because, he needs money now.
But does he need money now just to buy ammo? Because if he needs money now for ammo, that's where I'm coming from.
Okay, I do understand that. I would sell other stuff for ammo. I mean, and it could be, get some good hollow points, and then if anything, go out and buy steel case shit. That's fine. But if you have some ammo, the best thing to do, if you need to sell the firearms, keep your pistol, because that is what you'll need to defend your house. And you could get very good using a pistol without spending a dime.
Now here's something important. This is kind of showing you how the environment's going, and we're not trying to create any panic here. But Drewsper says that Bud's had DPMS oracles for $550 last week. So if that's any indicator, I would say go ahead and snag whatever it is you're looking for now, unless it's like an uber high-end gun where you wouldn't expect the price to fluctuate. The lower-end guns are the ones that start to creep up $25, $30, $50 as time goes on. And then naturally, a lot of the prices just tend to rise anyway.
Travis, I think the advice you're giving is based on our experience here where the price has gone up, gone down, based on demand. Right now, they're trying to pass a bunch of legislation at once. Federal and state level, and whenever they do a whole bunch at once and everybody on YouTube comes on and starts losing their mind and everybody's arguing and blah, 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 that's when you start seeing the panic buying and the stuff running, just coming off the shelves, and they're jacking up their prices. Now, you were talking earlier about Classic, so I went on the Anderson website, and their stuff, their complete rifles, look like they're about normal price. Okay. So I don't know if Classic is the first one to maybe start raising their prices, hoping that their buddies will follow suit. Some of the online retailers that are bigger and more popular can do that and get away with it. It's kind of like when two gas stations, instead of lowering their prices to get you to come in there, one of them raises their prices and the guy across the street raises their price, and they're having a price war. So if they think that because of everything that's been going on right now in Congress and whatnot, it's going to start a panic buy, they might just be, one of the ones that want to get in there first, and people will do it. There's many people out there that come on and say, I don't have a whole lot of money to spend. What can I do? There are people out there to go, I got money to burn, and now I'm going to go. And what's funny is, it's like, I've wanted an AR for 20 years, but I decided to wait until the panic buy to get my. It's like, what? Mm-hmm. But it works. It works. And these companies, it's capitalism. I'm not saying I agree with price gouging. And to some extent, that's what it is. It's price gouging. When there's none left in the warehouse, maybe you could ask a little bit more for it. Or when your manufacturer goes out of business. But as long as they're on the shelves, it's kind of like the whole people going, how can you raise the price of gas? It's been in the ground for a week. It's like, it's capitalism.
Well, no. So it isn't, because I've started this. It's not, for me, if I need to raise prices, it is because it's not the cost of what I bought it. It's the cost of what do I need to spend to replace my stock, so I can stay.
That's exactly what gas stations do. It's not based on what they paid for what they got in the ground. It's what they're buying.
Right. It's what the current price is. I'm saying, and that's what they do with gold and silver and everything else, and agricultural stuff, and it's whatever the today's market value. I get that. I'm just saying that what people say is, so if you bought 1,000 AR rifles and put them in your warehouse a year ago, and you've been slowly selling them, and suddenly there's a panic buy, it's not illegal, and it's very capitalistic to go, I think I'm just going to double the cost of them and make my money. Well, people don't like that. People don't like it, but it's not illegal.
It's good business, because even if, let's say you have, those $1,000, let's say each one costs $100. So you have $10,000 of stock there, and you're slowly selling that. And you're like, okay, let's say you sold 500 of them, and you have 500, and then all of a sudden the supply goes out. Once you're done with that 500, if you don't have the funds to replace that, you're out of business. So then on that last 500, you will have to jack it up to replace those 500 or make your next order. It's business.
It is business, and it's, like I said, it's not illegal. This is a capitalist society. That's what we do. It's just customers do not like it, whether or not it's what you're supposed to do or it's the way you make your business successful or whatever it is. The retail public doesn't like it. But the people in the retail public who have the money to burn that go, screw it, I'm going to go buy it, they enable these retailers. If people are like, whatever, I don't know, you've all gone into the gun store and you've seen that gun that's been on the shelf for like 5 or 6 or 7 years, that he will not budge on the price, and it is not what it's worth, right? And you're not the only one who's gone in there and made him an offer. He's like, I ain't budging. And, okay, well, it's just going to keep gathering dust, pal. So in the same sense that, they might have to lower their price just to move stock, they can raise their price. But in general, with the exception of the enablers, people don't like it. Whether they like it or not, it doesn't matter, right?
But there's a big difference there. There is stock that is moving at a price that you are going to have to replace versus stock that you have X amount of dollars in that is not moving, and that if you sell it, it's not going to be on your showroom and you're not going to replace it.
That's true, but I think the retailer needs to look at why it isn't moving.
Right.
Concerning,
but if it's sitting up on a wall and it's not taking up much space, and you have $1,000 into this lever action or whatever, and you're still fluent enough, someone will come in and spend $1,000 on that. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, maybe a year from now, but if you're still fluent enough to stay in business and you know you're not going to buy that again, absolutely keep it at $1,000. It's not causing anything. It's actually you could put it into your depreciation value of your company.
Our local Ford dealer told me once, he said, I ain't lost a dime on anything until I sell it.
Mm-hmm. Because you could write off as depreciation.
All right, so guys, I think we'll go ahead and move into the first topic, and this was a viewer request, and it seems like we talk about this all the time, but it's been actually 6 months since we had a discussion on this. Food and water preps, okay? I want to just run this through the panel and just quickly share with me if you do any kind of food prepping or water prepping, and if you do, what do you do? And if you don't, great. If you do, great. The question was, how do I get myself set up for proper food storage, for bulk food prepping? And I went through and kind of ran the numbers, and it's amazing what you can do for a very low price. So we'll talk about that too. So Calaveras, I'm going to start off with you. Do you do any kind of food or water prepping? Being here in California, you've got fires you got to worry about. You got earthquakes. Are you set up to sustain yourself for any length of time at all?
That's for... I always, got a decent sized pantry. I always try to keep a selection of canned goods, in there. Usually, case of bottled water in there. It's not that I'm necessarily prepping. It's just growing up in, out in the country. It was always one of those, where it was, half-hour drive to the nearest, grocery store.
Yeah,
I got in the habit of keeping a week's worth of food in the house, all the time, and stuff that didn't necessarily need to be cooked in case the power went out for some reason. Not seeing as a prep, just as a practical, so that way I didn't have to swing by the store every night on my way home type thing.
Yeah. Then what about water? Do you just have like a life straw sitting around, or do you have any cases of water that you keep, or any jugs or anything like that, or what do you do for water prep?
Usually try to keep, a case of bottled water in there. Now that I'm living in town, I'm not as good about it as I used to be, but that's where I always, I try to keep, a couple gallon jugs of drinkable water, especially because I have a big chest freezer for when I, either a big shopping trip over at Costco or a bag game after hunting season or something. And whenever the freezers are low, I throw a couple gallon jugs in there. They freeze up and makes it so the freezer's not running as hard.
Okay.
So I do always have those around, and those are potable, even though that's not what my primary use for them is, but I could drink out of it.
A lot of people also forget that in an absolute dire emergency, you've got your water heater that has a drain valve on the bottom of it. So you would be okay there too if you needed to, or if you have any kind of like a filter system, you might be able to run out the tank. Just saying we're talking worst case scenarios, but again, if you would have to go a couple days with nothing, say the power's off for 2 or 3 days, what
and another worst case scenario, a lot of people think gross or whatever, but that's where the tank on the back of a toilet is potable water in most places. They use, it's the same fresh water source.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be my first go-to, but if it is there, I would rather have that than die of dehydration.
Don't drink out of the bowl.
Don't drink that if you got one of them toilet bowl cleaners in the back.
Oh God, yes. Check for the little puck before you put down the 2000 flush. You're like,
yeah. So Yeah, that's very
Excellent
true.
point, Tony.
You also, if you have a life straw, you could also drink straight from it like that.
True. Yeah, that's true. It would also filter it out for you. Now, Foos, what do you do for food and water preps?
So I live in a lower lying area. I do have a spring fairly close to me, even though I do live in town. I have 3 55-gallon buckets or barrels that I have filled up with tap water in the past, and it's water, drinkable-ish. It's been sitting for a while. I really do need to rotate it, but I do have ceramic filters to put that through.
Okay.
In case I ever need it. So it is drinkable. As far as food, several years ago, I went out and bought 3 or 4 months of the dry food storage.
Mm-hmm.
The dehydrated food stuff? Am I going to, shit hits the fan, I want to eat 3 of these a day? No, I may eat 1 a day. I will drop weight like crazy, but I will still have food for 3, 4, 5 months. Whereas, and I'm staying in my damn house. I'm not going to leave. I got enough ammo and shit here that you're not getting to my house unless you're coming in a way I can't see. So.
Yeah. Gotcha. So you are doing a little bit then. At least you've got something, because it's amazing how many people have nothing more than just what's up in their cupboard. That's all they have. What's in their fridge,
And my truck never has less than a half a tank.
Mm-hmm.
I could get to St. Louis on that. I got about 350 miles of range on that. If I need to, I could load every firearm and every little bit of ammo in the bed of my truck right now. It'll take me an hour to get it there. But, and my fuel mileage would be shit, but I could get it.
The thing is, would you really want to go there? Would you really want to go into a metropolitan area in a time of visiting?
No. I'm just saying,
if you had to evacuate and go there for, say, shelter for something.
He could head to St. Genevieve.
No, well, yeah. Well, that's why. Well, actually, I don't know. But I'm just saying that I could, if I need to leave, I know I have fuel to get hundreds of miles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even with let's say I wouldn't take and put 1,000, 2,000 pounds of shit in the bed of my truck. Yeah, I'm not going to get 20 miles a gallon. I may get 15, but still, that's still 150, 200 miles away from where I'm at.
Yeah.
Justin, and it's really cold. Like, you're in a cold area. I get in a cold area. If my power goes out right now, I have 15 to 20 gallons of kerosene out there. I'll get my house up to nice 80, 85 degrees. And then as it starts cooling, to where I'm uncomfortable in shorts and t-shirt. And then as it starts coming down, I'll start putting more and more clothes on it. And then I'll heat it back up. Do that. And I'll be fine.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. That's definitely a way to look at it too. I never thought about that. What other things that you should have? Fuel, kerosene, water, obviously.
Shit hits the fan. Everybody head for Foos's house.
There we go. They're going to sneak in. People said they're going to sneak in through your toilet, Foos.
It's up on the second story. If you could fit through that,
more power to you.
Actually,
somebody was saying that they go ahead.
I was just thinking about the shooting stuff we could be doing there with all that ammo.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Foos's castle.
Yeah. So I've had friends like, oh, I'm just going to go to your house. I went, no, you're going to be in the horde. You're going to be laying next to the people in the hordes. I mean, you're not going to get to my house. So sorry. There are some people that I will let come to my house because they're in the same
mindset.
Mm-hmm. If they're like, oh, I'm not going to prepare this, I'll just go to yours.
No, if they bring guns and ammo, food and water with them, let them in.
I'm pretty much a lazy person myself, so I ain't going freaking nowhere.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's continue the sharing here. David, what about you? Do you do any kind of food or water prepping at all, or are you just kind of getting into that area?
I do.
I've got stuff that'll last if something happens. The most important part, I think, as far as food and water prep is one, the water filtration system. If you got a case of water and it's in your basement in the corner somewhere and it's been there for 2 years, you might want to consider recycling through that.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't just throw, a gallon of water in a closet somewhere and think that in 5 years it's going to be healthy for you to drink.
Yeah, it's going to leach out from the plastics and stuff.
You're going to have to filter it.
So definitely have some type of water filtration system or those little pills you can put in there. The pills are temporary. So like the Life Straw you can use over and over again. But as far as food goes, it doesn't matter if you've got 10 years worth of food in your cabinet. If you've got no way to cook it, if you don't have a can opener to open it, a manual can opener because your power's out, you're not burning electricity. Your gas stove isn't going to work. If you're on, a separate gas like your propane for your stove and heat, propane's going to wear out. So you better have a way to cook that food. And then obviously be able to store it if you cook it. If you cook a steak and you only eat half of it, you can't just throw the steak on the counter and come back to it in 2 days to finish it off.
Okay.
Regarding the water treatment, I had just seen the other day somebody talking about you can use bleach.
You can
treat water.
You can in
like
small
6
amounts.
or 8 drops a gallon.
Yep, you can.
Okay. All right, Squib. What about you? Any food and water preps on your end?
I can't disclose that due to OPSEC. No, I'm kidding.
You tell you, but then I got to kill you.
I've got the urban prepping thing going. I don't have the barricade myself in. I'm going to hold out in the middle of nowhere prepping, but I would like to have that because I think it's, for me, prepping is a hobby as well as something that might actually come in handy one day. So, and I consider it a harmless hobby. Some people think that, oh, you're nuts if you're, they're spending money and they're doing stuff and building skills and whatever. So, whenever I go to the grocery store, I always pick up extra distilled water in gallon jugs. I mean, we use it to brew coffee and cook and drink and all that. We don't drink the tap water. It's not that it's unsafe. It's just, we just don't. And, I always make sure that when I'm at the store, if it's on the shelf, because sometimes it's they haven't restocked it. It's in the back. They just don't restock it. I always pick up extra. So we always have a surplus of distilled water in gallon jugs. Now, that stuff does not last forever. That plastic will break down, especially these days, as thin as the plastic is. I don't recommend that for long-term storage for anybody else. I keep some 5-gallon buckets that are clean, that have lids. You can buy them at any hardware store. Just clean them out, clean the lid, keep it on. And I can literally go across the street to the lake and get water. Now, what I need is a good filtration system. Right now, I would just boil it or something like that. But that's something I would really like to work on. I've been saying for the past 2 or 3 years, I want to make a rain catchment to water the garden with, so I can save on the water bill, because we were surrounded by the Great Lakes here in Michigan, and our water bills are ridiculous. But I could utilize a rain catchment for potable water if I developed a filtering or distilling kind of setup. And there's all kinds of videos online. People have got stuff that you can make, you can buy. So there's some research there, but I really haven't done much more than just like the urban. Always keep extra bottled water in the house. Drinking water and distilled water, there's tons of it. So
yeah.
So check your local laws, because some places you're not allowed to catch rainwater.
Yeah.
I'm not in a communist state.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm in Arkansas. I'm in Arkansas, and it's illegal.
There's a lot of things that you also have to consider with water is washing yourself, because in 1700s, not taking a bath but once a year was fine and dandy. But 2019, we're accustomed to being clean, and if you don't have a way to clean yourself, then you're going to get sick. You're going to get infections. It's not going to work out good. So water's not just for drinking. You got to make sure you have water to wash yourself with.
Now, Pink Panther over there on YouTube side says, "Who needs water? Just set up a wine cellar and fill it with bourbon." That's an option.
No, that don't play well with me, I can tell you. Hey, Squibby, there's a way to make water filtration with pea gravel and sand.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, but my bosses.
Yeah, there is. There's videos on that.
I would rather use I don't know about when it comes to bacteria and crap that you get in lake water and river water, stuff like that, I'd probably rather go for a tried and true. A little handheld life straw is $20, and that'll filter hundreds of gallons of water. Just get one. I've got 2 of them. They're just sitting on top of our food boxes.
Foos needs to stop making ammo and start making
food.
As far as there being some sort of law against rain catchment, here's the thing. I'm either going to have a neighbor who knows what it is and report me. They don't know. I'm going to have the tax assessor knock on the front door because they want to check the house. They actually physically measure your house to make sure everything's good in case they have to raise your taxes, or they want to check to see if you added a deck or whatever it is. If you don't answer the door, you say, get off my property, they can literally walk around your property with a tape measure and measure it. They might see it. Now, would the tax assessor know what it is? Well, if there's a tax on it, probably. So, there's things like that. I haven't not put it in because I'm afraid I'm going to get reported. I really don't think, as many stupid laws as each state has, I don't think ours has anything about. It falls out of the sky, for Pete's sakes. So, whatever. But I think that if I live someplace remote, nobody's ever going to know I'm going to have a rain catchment. So
that's absolutely true. But all I'm saying is it is because, like, local laws, like, I have 5 lakes within a 30-minute drive of me. Other places may live out in the desert where that rain it leaches into the ground. That's their only drinking water. So you have to look at where you're at.
As far as living in communist states and that free stuff falling from the sky, until just recently, thank you to Larry Hogan, we had a rain tax in Maryland.
How does that work? What?
We had a flush tax too for a long time.
You got to pay a tax to flush your toilet?
I think here what they do is
hot steamers out in the street. That's what I would do.
Instead of charging us a tax for rain or a tax for any of that stuff or whatever it is, I think it's just because our water bill is so high around here. See, if you live in Detroit, you don't have to pay for your water. Do you know why? Because the rich people in the suburbs will pay for it. The same thing with your electric and your gas bill. And guess what? If you live in Detroit, they're not going to shut off your utilities even if you don't pay your bills, because that's oppression. But if you live in the suburbs and you're one day late, they're going to come in and shut off your stuff until you pay, and then you got to pay to turn it back on because we got to pay for them. So maybe that's why. So we have that instead of a stupid rain tax. So maybe a rain tax would be better. I don't know.
All right. So, Tony, what about you with your food and water preps? What do you do?
Well, as far as water goes, I don't prep water because I have a well.
What kind of well? And do you have a hand pump for it?
It has a hand pump on it, yes.
Okay.
And it's a dug well. So that's not a big deal. And if the hand pump was bad, I would just open the top and bucket water out.
Yeah.
Food, I don't prep as much as I should. I'm wanting to start, but I've got to get stuff squared away here for a place to put it.
Yeah.
Because I have a real problem with mice here.
What about, Tony? Can you keep them out of the hard plastic 5-gallon buckets, or will they chew through that?
They chewed through the side of my hard plastic garbage can.
Okay. So that could definitely be an issue. Ooh, I never thought of that. What do you do for a situation like that, especially if you're dealing with mice? Because a lot of these places say, "Oh, just vacuum seal your food in the 5-gallon buckets," or you can use dry ice to suck all the oxygen out of these buckets. It'll self seal. That's interesting. So, okay, as for us here at the house, we've got the life straws. I have 6 cases of water, 40 count bottles that we just buy at Sam's Club. It's like $3.68 for 40 bottles of water. We've got 6. When we bring it home, we'll rotate. We'll put we step through 2 stacks. We'll move it over, move it up, bring the new stuff in on the left side. So within probably just a couple months, we've already burned through, we've cycled through all of it. Or I'll just go to Walmart and pick up a case of 40. There's no reason not to have, a case of water in your house. And then again, like what David was saying, you want to keep an eye on it. Maybe write the date on the top of it with a permanent marker. with a Sharpie, and then you can rotate it out. I'd say every 6 months, get rid of it. I always travel with water in my vehicle. I've got at least 12 bottles of water in my Jeep all the time. I burn through that. I take it in the mornings when I go to work. I'll take it to the range and drink it. I'll make sure about every month or so I'll move that out, move a fresh case, not a fresh case, but 12 to 20 bottles. I just keep it in my vehicle because we're always on the road. As for food for us, now we've been kind of taking the lazy approach to it. We've just been doing the Wise food buckets. I'll buy them when they're on sale on Amazon. But what I wanted to go to real quick was just to talk about the idea of bulk food storage. What do you need to know? One of the least expensive ways to get into it is to pick yourself up a vacuum sealer, which many times people on this panel, I know people have talked about it before. They picked them up at garage sales. They picked them up at thrift stores. I was looking at Amazon, and their top-rated vacuum sealer is $49.99. You can get 100 11 by 16 bags for $20. So for $60, less than the price of a food pre-prep bucket, you can have a machine where you can start packing and sealing your own food. What I was looking at here, just want to run some numbers at you guys real quick. If the average male, takes in 2,000 calories a day and you're active, you're going to lose a pound per week. If you're taking in 2,500 calories per day, depending on how active you are, you're going to maintain weight. So I was kind of basing things off of about a 2,300 calorie diet. One of the easiest, least expensive ways to get into it is a 2-to-1 ratio of beans to rice. And like we said, you got to have water. You got to have energy to cook that stuff, right? 1 cup of black beans and a half a cup of cooked rice is going to give you 745 calories. Now, I'm not saying you can't just sustain on that alone. You've got to have fiber. Not fiber. You're going to have to have some other sources of some vegetables and some fruits in there, obviously multivitamins and stuff like that. So if you had to eat that 3 times a day, that would get you 2,200 calories. And the big mistake that people make is they eat more rice than beans. And you want to go higher on the beans than rice because of the low glycemic index. So that's a big mistake that a lot of people make, is they do more rice than beans. And at 3 meals a day, you're looking at about 2,200 calories a day. You can sustain on that. Granted, you want to supplement it with maybe some vacuum sealed fruits. You want to have some vegetables on standby. Now, actual cost-wise, here's what's cool about it. If you wanted to go that route, get yourself set up, say with the beans and rice prepping, $8 for 12 pounds of uncooked black beans. And at 3 cups a day, that'll last you 16 days. Rice is 20 pounds for $19. Rice has gone up quite a bit. That's going to give you 80 cups, and at 1.5 servings per day, that's going to last you 53 days. So it is a lot cheaper to get into bulk food storage than it is to buy the pre-made buckets. If you double what I just talked about right there, you could easily go over a month for less than the price of 1 bucket. Now, yeah, go ahead.
One thing, most Americans can go quite a bit under the 2,500 a day.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're carrying a lot extra.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Gluttony will kill a lot of people real fast.
So with the beans and rice, that's very bland palate.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and pick up some ramen noodles. Not for the ramen noodle, for the packet, and the flavor packet.
10 cents a pack, 8 cents a pack, the little flavor packet, or just get some salt, get some pepper, get some hot sauce. Hot sauce keeps forever. I mean, it's got like a 2-year shelf life before you open it.
Bouillon cubes.
Bouillon cubes is a good one. So yeah, just talking about it. So again, the thing is, if you do nothing at all and you want to get into doing some bulk food prepping for your family, think about getting the vacuum sealer. So for 50, 70, for about $100, you could get yourself set up for a minimum of 16 days worth of food and a machine to keep sealing food from then on out. So that's way, way cheaper than buying a bucket if you just go the beans and rice route. I'm just talking absolute bare sustenance, something you can get, because we've spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on these food buckets. They're $75 a piece, and they might be a 14-day food supply for one person. So right now we've probably dropped $300 on enough food now, about $300 to $400 on a 30-day supply for 2 people. That's what we have. But this bulk food storage, this stuff will last. Now, here's the only catch about it. You got to watch the temperature. You got to watch how you store it and where you store it. If you're in a hot, humid climate, it could be a different situation. You're only looking at about a 1 to 2 year shelf life on the beans and rice. But you could start to cycle it out as you come up on that year, start cooking it, start eating it, start packing another bag. I mean, with an 11 by 16 inch bag, you could put a lot of beans and rice in there and set your family up for a week if you had to. So
there are ways to make beans last a lot longer, but I don't remember off
I
the
think
top
if you
of my
jar them, if you jar beans or rice, it's going to do a lot more for you. And you need to watch out. They talk about like getting boll weevils in the vegetables. You got to, or the beans. You got to make sure you keep everything vacuum sealed. They were even talking about putting stuff in the freezer for a couple days before, if you have electricity, put it in the freezer for a couple days before you actually cook it. That'll kill off anything that might have been living in there. So just saying that is one way to definitely get into it. Now, the food buckets are also very convenient, and you can spend whatever you want on there. There's places like Patriot Food Supply where they'll sell you, an entire year's worth of food for one person for a couple $1,000, and it comes in these tubs that are prepackaged, pre-sealed. Everything's ready to go. So that is one option. What do you guys think about that? Any thoughts on that at all? With
can I give you a YouTube channel if you want to learn how to can and jar and preserve food and store it for long term? Can I give you a channel that I absolutely recommend?
Yeah.
Her name is Mouse Toes, 2 separate words. Check out her channel. She's got all kinds of videos on how she jars food or pulls out jarred food and prepares a meal with it. She's part of a network. You could also check this out, X Nation, X-Nation, or Prepper X, 2 separate, Prepper space X. And they have a lot of tips as far as all forms of prepping. I mean, power generation, water purification, bugging in, bugging out, first aid, OPSEC, and long-term food storage, gardening, beekeeping. I mean, they really go into a lot of stuff. If you're really into prepping, check out X Nation, Prepper X, and within there's different people on there, and you can find out about their channels. And one of those people is Mouse Toes, and she does a lot of canning and jarring and really good stuff.
I went ahead and put the links on those channels. They look good. They do look good. And again, it's going to seem kind of like something your aunt or your grandma does when it comes to jarring food, but we're talking about survival, and those jarred foods will last. I mean, as long as they stay sealed, they will last. My grandma's cracked open cans of stuff. It's been 5, 6, 7 years old, and it's been perfectly fine because it's been completely sealed. There's been no issues whatsoever, whether it's vegetables or, sauerkraut or things like that. Or fruits and whatever. I mean, that's definitely the way to go too, is jarring the food. That can be a little bit of an investment, having to buy the jars and the lids and all that stuff and everything you're going to need to do it. And if you got a family member that does jarring and canning, maybe spend some time with them and learn how to do it. I mean, it's very practical. It's very inexpensive to get into if you just want to dabble with it a little bit. So
talk to your grandmother.
Yes. And here's the question I have for everybody watching this. If your power went out, if your power goes off, do you have anything to do? Would you be able to keep yourself fed after 48 hours? Because your fridge is going to be pretty much defrosted by that point. Everything in your fridge is going to go bad within a day. Within 3 days, everything in the fridge is done. And let's just say it's not wintertime. You can't put stuff outside to keep it cold like some of us could in the colder climate. If the power goes out, because I'll tell you right now, when our electricity goes out here because of storms, 6 to 8 hours, man, and things start kicking in. It's like, okay, you learn fast about what you have. Okay, no faucets turning on, no water. How do you shower? How do you bathe? How do you clean up? You got to go to work, right? The garage doors don't lift. It is a crazy situation. If anybody lives in any extreme climate areas knows what I'm talking about. If you've ever had the power go out overnight, 12 hours.
The sharp reality of a true stuff hits the fan situation. Not the power's out for a week and it's going to come back on and you can go down to your grandma's house a couple miles away. Yeah. But like a real, oh no, things have really went bad, the vast majority of the population is going to die in about a week.
Your grocery stores are going to sell out within 2 days. That's if they even have electricity.
No. They won't sell out. They won't sell out. They'll be raided.
They'll get robbed.
Oh yeah, no, not sell out. I'm sorry. Yeah, people are gonna walk in and walk out because who's going to protect the Walmart? The law enforcement's going to be busy taking care of themselves, holding down the station, or responding to some calls if they can.
If you work at a Walmart,
my smart ass answer to the question is, I got guns. I will eat.
Well, that's what I was saying. If you work at a Walmart, close the doors and pull those gates down, and then you got a whole Walmart to yourself.
Dude, somebody will run a truck. People will run a freaking truck right through it. If they're hungry, they will run a truck right through it. There's people now that go into Walmart that will fill their shopping cart and walk right out. It's happened at the store where my mom works. People put stuff in their cart. They walk out. They will just walk in and walk out because there's this old elderly door person trying to stop them. They'll go throw stuff in their vehicle and drive off. I mean, people do that. Imagine it in a crisis situation where there's no power. Your kids are hungry. It's been 2 days. You didn't buy any food there. The Doritos are gone from the pantry. Right? And your kids are hungry. Mom, I mean, most people don't buy nutritious. I mean, in general, I mean, you look in people's pantries, it's just crap. I mean, really, if you look at what we buy in general.
Well, that's why holding it down, like Tony said, he ain't going anywhere. You hold it down and wait out, because if just assuming that they starve to death and dehydrate, but then you got the reality of all the maniacs that are going to be killing each other and fighting over the stuff there. You wait in your house about a week, and then you'll be able to go outside and there won't be anybody there, and you can do whatever you need to do.
Look how people get before a hurricane hits. You know, they'll show empty shelves at Home Depot and Walmart and grocery stores.
No. Look at how Walmart is whenever there is a prediction of snow.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Shit is gone.
Bread, milk, totally gone.
But they get bread, milk, and eggs, and I mean, those aren't foods that are preserved. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not saying they don't take other stuff, but they're not running for the Mountain House and the canned food. They're running for bread, milk, and eggs. Why? Because mom said to. Because grandma said to. Because great grandma said to. It's just an old habit.
And if you look at sales trends, I was reading, there's a psychology study that was done on that. It was fascinating to listen to. People have this sense of self-comfort when they acquire those items. Those are the core of what they're used to eating and having and going to, bread and milk and, whatever. You got to go beyond that. Another good one to stock up on is peanut butter. You can get giant jars of peanut butter that'll last 2 years.
I was just thinking that, Travis.
Sam's Club has two big old jars of Jif for like $15. And that'll have you got raw protein and fat in there and salt. It's not the healthiest thing in the world, but you will keep you from going hungry,
If you get stuff like that, like peanut butter or canned food or any of that, just make sure you're cognizant of the dates.
Yeah.
Rotate your stuff out. Maybe go down to the pantry every so often and see what's going to expire soon and plan your meals based off of that so you use it up.
Yeah.
This is another thing about Mouse Toe's video. She knows how to stretch a buck. She knows how to rotate her stuff and keep track of it and get the optimal use out of everything, whether it's store-bought or whether it's home canned or whatever it is. And it's a really good way to be able to make prepping more affordable. And it kind of gives you a little bit of variety, too. If you're just eating the same old thing over and over again and you try to learn how to make different stuff by seasoning it or cooking it a different way or adding it to something else so that you rotate out your canned food. Now, another thing is I like those Pop Tops, but those don't seal as well. They don't last as long. So they're good for convenience, but they're not good for long-term storage. And don't think something in a can is going to last forever either.
Yeah, you're looking at probably 3 years, maybe 2 years on most of your canned goods.
Two things that have exceptionally long shelf life are pure maple syrup and honey.
Yeah,
honey does not go out of style.
Yeah, if you see that honey and it starts turning white, you can actually reconstitute it by slowly heating it up in hot water. Don't just dump it in boiling water. You've got to gradually heat it up and you can reconstitute it. But even if you eat it like that, it looks kind of gross, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. All it's done is crystallize. So if you put it in slowly heat it up in water, you'll break up those crystals and you'll somewhat reconstitute it.
Well, what that white stuff is it sugar. That's pure sugar.
Well, bringing up like what Squib was talking about stuff being gross, and then I'm a super picky eater, and I'll skip meals if it's something that I don't like. Like if my friend has spaghetti when I come home from work, I'm not eating that night. But in a stuff hits the fan situation, if you're picky, you're gonna have to start eating stuff that you don't like because you're gonna have to eat what's there.
You mean like green bean casserole?
Exactly. I will dive into some green bean casserole when the nuclear bomb hits like nobody's business.
You the man.
Not until then.
I
think we lost Travis there for a second.
I think
sound like
that. He's drinking coffee. He might be using the restroom.
He's muted. He had to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
Yeah, or well, at least he didn't hit stop broadcast.
So, yeah.
And what about shelf life on like I think MREs are what 5 years, maybe 7. I know Wise Food is 20. Mountain House is somewhere in between. So,
regardless of whatever you have, you can't. There's nothing that you're gonna have whatsoever that's gonna last you forever. You've got to recycle your stuff while you're waiting. If you get a pallet full of peanut butter and stuff it in your garage, well, in 20 years when the nuclear bomb hits, that peanut butter is no good.
Yeah.
Right, because of the fluctuations. So fluctuations of heat, of temperature, and moisture is going to be bad on anything. Keep it inside. Like, if you're in a cold environment, wherever you're like, oh, I got to have propane for a grill, or, kerosene for heat. Well, guess what? Cook over your kerosene heater. There's, figure out ways of doing two things at once. So, if you do have a propane heater or something like that, figure out how to cook over it. So you can do one thing. Oh, go ahead.
Better take a little bit of time and learn how to cook stuff over an open fire too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or how to boil water when you don't have your range.
Learn how to make a fire without matches.
Learn how to make a fire without burning your house down.
Yeah,
that works.
If you're stuck inside your house and you go, if I'm in a bad situation and I see you cooking out in your front yard, bang, bang, I just ate your meal. So you better learn how to cook, out of the view of people.
Yeah.
Actually, back to the prep stuff, I did just buy a whole bunch of heirloom seeds for gardening. So I could hopefully not have to buy seeds ever again.
Yeah, that's another one too, is if you've got a season where you can garden, that'd be the next step to go into. You might make it the 6 months through winter, then you hit springtime and,
You got to make sure they're heirloom seeds, because most of the seeds out there right now are one and done. They're genetically modified, so they won't reproduce seeds.
I purposely seeked out and bought heirlooms.
So it's not a crazy idea to buy one of those seed bank vaults that they advertise. You don't think that'd be a bad idea to pick one of those up?
I bought
an old fridge, stick it in, or stick it in the back of your fridge or your crisper or something like that if you don't use it.
I mean, if you live in Alaska, yeah, it's a bad idea because you're just not going to be able to grow it. But if you live somewhere where you've got somewhat of a growing season, for those that live down south and out west, I mean, you can grow all year round. Yeah. But even up north, I mean, we've got a growing season here. You've got it there in Nebraska. I mean, we're agricultural state, so we're all right. But I don't know. Some places it may not be a good idea.
Well,
you have to be able to grow a garden.
Right. Here, unfortunately, our agriculture, the soil is just a host. The soil adds no nutrients to what we grow up here. I mean, here it's just, in my opinion, it's just all, because you look at how much we use the chemical fertilizers and pesticides on everything we grow.
Right. I was talking with Dusty. He's a farmer, and he says the government will actually incentivize you not to till up your ground, which is why part of the reason why those chemicals kind of make it worse. Now, I'm not into the whole GMO, non-GMO. I'm just saying that we could have probably more fertile ground, but the government is, and I'm not talking about conspiracy theories either. I mean, he's a farmer. He knows what incentives they give him and what incentives they don't give him. And I thought that was kind of interesting that he also said that the fertilizers that we use, even though they increase crop production, they kill all the earthworms. So, I mean, there's something to be said about home gardening. You can get a better quality.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, you're limited by space and water and time and sunlight. I mean, I wish we didn't have so many cloudy days here. Yeah. If I could get more sunlight into my garden, I could get a better yield.
Put a plastic sheet over the top of it, Squib.
Intensifies the sunlight.
Yeah.
Have like a little greenhouse in the back or whatever. Yeah. So anyway, that's just, just a few ideas. And again, the gardening would be something to consider getting into too. If you've got the soil for it and you can grow stuff, yeah, do it. Definitely. So, yeah. So again, my suggestion, if you want to get into bulk food prepping, just get yourself a vacuum sealer, get yourself some bags. There's plenty of instructions online on what quantity and how to mix stuff up and how to properly save it. And that'd be one way to get into it. Just so you got something. I mean, even if you just want to have maybe 7 days worth of food for you and the family, or 14 days, it'll just keep you, without having to panic or worry. So that's something to consider.
Nobody mentioned a dehydrator, and that would be a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. You want to go? Yeah. Cause you can dehydrate, you can make trail mixes and things like that. You could vacuum seal them and they would probably keep a year, dehydrate.
Well, that's how if you do have your garden or whatever, that's a good way to go ahead and keep that if you don't can.
How do you guys feel about? Go ahead, Tony.
I was just say you also could have meat.
How do you guys feel about networking? You know, some of the preppers that I talk to and watch their channels, their big goal, their big push isn't water, isn't this, it's your next door neighbor. That's and the guy who lives down the street, having a community that you can team up with.
And trust people.
You've got to trust them. I recommend vetting them. I mean, if it's a friend or relative that you've known for a while and you understand them well enough, then you've already done your vetting. But if it's a coworker, if it's a neighbor, if it's somebody you met online, I don't think just jump in with both feet. Take some time and get to know them. You know.
Sorry, I heard betting the first time. I'm thinking, what the hell kind of a deal squib into?
Vetting, isn't that what they call it, where you investigate somebody to make sure that they're...
I thought you said betting.
Yeah, you got to bet all your neighbors to make sure you can trust them.
Well, I mean, it depends on what sort of community you live in, I guess.
The wife, though.
Yeah.
Only the wife. Don't play the husband.
I'm not doing the networking thing at all. Fucking everybody else.
But you also can't do everything yourself because
no. But here's the thing: if you've got skills and they don't, they're going to lean on you. If you've got resources and they don't, they're going to lean on. That's why you make sure that if they say they can fix stuff, let's see them fix stuff. If they say they got a medical background, let's see something. If they say that they're developing solar power or distilling water or whatever it is, let's see. Don't just talk about it or just say, oh yeah, I'll buy it next year. What? No, you really want to see this stuff because everybody's got to bring something to the table. If you've got that one anchor that comes in that brings nothing, that's not going to help.
The thing is, that goes both ways. It needs to go both ways. If you're vetting them, they should be vetting you, and you should know if they're vetting you because they're asking you the same questions that you're asking them and trying to prove it out.
Here, Sean Newman's got a really strong point here on the YouTube side. He says, seriously, a house is very hard to defend in SHTF. You'd be better off defending the neighborhood with your neighbor's help if possible. Have a 24-hour watch where you can rotate so you can sleep. You can't stay up. You know, you might, if you're good, it's going to hit you at some point. And if it's just you, you know, what are you going to do? How do you defend your home? Yeah, if you could have a neighborhood watch organized and know your neighbors or have a group that has a place to meet, say at your bug out location, that's going to be your best bet.
I just watched a video in the past couple of days that talked about defending your house, and they said the best way to defend your house is from outside. And I'm not opposed to the networking thing. I was just being an ass about that one. I've got 4 daughters and a whole crap load of son-in-laws and grandkids, and
they're all coming to your house, Tony.
Probably.
No, I mean the thing is I live alone. I don't know my neighbors. I don't, stuff like that. So for me, it would be my viewpoint is because it is just going to be me. My house is going to look like no one's been here.
Well, people, when they get desperate, absolute terrible SHTF, the people will go door to door and scavenge. I mean, that's going to happen, Groups will be getting together, scavenging because they know they've got strength in numbers, and they will be kicking in doors and searching. I mean, that's just the nature of how people are when they get hungry. They're going to do anything.
Absolutely true, and that's why I have multiple firearms where I won't have to reload. I'll be doing the New York reload. Toss down, grab another.
There you go.
I got a 45-70. Let them kick the fucking door in.
See, I just don't think I don't think that I'm gonna be dealing with a whole lot of that. My neighbors are soft, weak, and useless. So
mine too.
I think they would all just die off. We're
not talking neighbors. We're talking the gangs of people that'll be getting together to scavenge, to survive.
You know what? Unless you live in the hood, I don't see that either. I just don't. I mean, I know by nature people are evil, but I mean, if you're in a crime-ridden area, I guess. But
people, when they get hungry, they get desperate. I guarantee.
What they're going to do is they're going to get high and they're going to OD and they're all going to die.
What? I'm talking about the neighbor 2 houses down that's got 3 kids.
As far as people traveling out of the cities to go to look for stuff, that's probably not going to be as commonplace as people think because the city dwellers are generally not comfortable when they ain't in the city.
So what's going to happen to the city dwellers if you live within 10 miles of metropolitan area, yeah, I'd probably be worried about the hordes. But outside of that, no.
Traffic's not going to let you get out of the city or into a city, because when people start panicking, they're going to start running, and your highways are going to be screwed.
And see, there's something else as far as kind of how prepped your small town is. We don't have a local grocery store aside from Dollar General, so people have to travel somewhere and buy groceries, and that's not conducive to buying your food that you eat each day.
Yeah.
And rich people will do some foul stuff real quick. I know a bunch of rich people who are disgusting human beings.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on. The next section, we've never really done one of these before on Caliber Corners, just a straight up viewer Q&A. If anybody has any questions they want to throw out there about firearms, ammo, prepping, anything that you guys are interested in, just go ahead and put it out there in the chat. We'll be checking the YouTube side and then also the gun channel side, because I didn't have any other topics for us to really cover for today, except for us to have our drawing whenever we decide to get to it, which should be coming up here pretty soon. So if anybody has any questions, or anybody on the panel has questions, or if there's anything you guys are curious about, throw it out there. You got a lot of experience out here on the panel that can answer questions that you guys might have. So
wait, experience or bullshitting?
What's that?
Well,
it's whatever works for you. So
if we don't know, we'll make something up.
I request letting the panel do all the discussing. It can't be all about me, guys. I know everybody wants to know everything about me, but it can't be just about me.
We've got a question from Cowboy Swami, guys. Here we go. Thoughts on a 686 trade-in for an excellent condition used G19X and a new Maverick 88. I still have a 629, a Bodyguard, and an AR-15. So your thoughts on a 686 trade-in for an excellent condition. So you would be trading in your 686 for a G19X and a Maverick 88. I guess what you want to do is look and see what's the market price on that gun. What are they bringing right now? And then look at what you're bringing to the table for value, you know, and then go from there. Yeah.
That 686 ought to be worth about somewhere around $750 if it's in good shape. Maybe more than that.
Am I the only one that whenever I look at trades, I don't look at price of what I'm getting versus what I
Why wouldn't you though? Because I mean, like, okay, G19X. Okay, well, I saw G19Xs for, you know, they were under $500 at one point on PSA.
Right.
You know.
Well, for what I do is, if there's a monetary going to be passing between then I will start looking at prices. But if it's a straight up, if I'm like, oh, I don't shoot this, but I will be using this and shooting this more, I don't even look at the price, because to me, price of firearms, no matter what, they're all pretty much cheap. Maybe it's because I shoot so much. Like, even if I go out and buy a $4,000 or $5,000 or $8,000 gun, that's still the cheap part of the entire
ownership experience, basically.
Thank you. That's the cheap part.
Yeah,
and it could be just because I'm so skewed because of how much I shoot and, you know, what I do for my hobby.
The thing to think about too is, what's going to happen 2, 5, 10 years down the road with the values of all this stuff? Because as far as I've seen, decent quality Smith & Wesson handguns don't go down in value.
So Cowboy Swami, you could ask yourself the question, you know, are you going to shoot more if you get the G19X? Are you doing it to give yourself some sort of an advantage for self-defense or home defense? Because you're looking at, you know, say Maverick 88, G19X. You know, if you get a Maverick 88 security model, you've got like 7 or 8+1. It depends on what you want to do with it, I guess. You know, that'd be the big question is, are you looking for something you can shoot more often that's more fun? You know, it's kind of like what Foos is saying over here. You got to look at what you're going to get out of it once you do the trade. Is it because you want something that you can now maybe use more often? So, you know, value-wise, you're probably going to be losing some money looking at what, you know, at what Tony's saying value-wise, price-wise, dollar for dollar. But if you're going to get something you've really wanted and say you don't want to go outright and buy those two guns, then do the trade, you know. If it's, you know, that's, and I mean, I've recently traded one of my rifles for another one, and I got this rifle and really thought I'd be into it, and it just didn't do it for me. And so I traded it for something I really wanted, and actually came out pretty good. So, What is Fine Ape is saying? Wait, what? You didn't do your homework? No, I just wanted to throw a viewer Q&A out there because we have questions that pop up from time to time, and we always have to answer them at the very end. So going back here, looking at the questions, what is creepier, bronies or furries? Bronies are dudes that are into My Little Pony. I don't know, what are furries? Do you guys know what that is? I'm confused. Furries? Anyone?
Dudes that are into Furbies? Hell, I don't know.
Okay, now Nate Ludy's got a good question. Do you think we should learn to reload as well as stock up on bought ammo? Nate, I'm doing that. Nate, I got myself set up so I've got a couple thousand rounds of the calibers that I like to use. I bought that first. And now, years and years and years after I've been into shooting and guns, I'm just now getting into reloading. And that's another investment. It doesn't have to be super duper expensive. You can get into reloading. You know, if you want to get a nice kit and get the basics that you need, you could do it for under $200. It would be close, but you could do it under $200 if you get yourself, you know, the kit to get set up. Just looking at what I've spent. I always say get yourself the ammo that you need to go on. If you couldn't buy any more ammo after today, would you have enough ammo to be happy? Would you have enough ammo to be able to practice but still defend yourself? The answer is no. You should stock up a little bit. You know, I would say a minimum 1,000 rounds of each caliber, just because you can buy in bulk and it's so relatively inexpensive these days to buy bulk ammo. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about reloading?
No matter how much ammo you stock up on, eventually it'll be gone. So you should have a way to reload. Because
I agree.
You can buy the stuff and not ever do anything with it. And all that stuff, except maybe primers, I'm not sure about them, will ever go bad.
Yeah.
But unless you're outside practicing, unless you're training new people or people in your family that never operated a gun before, that now because it's SHTF and you're on your own, they need that skill. You can make this stuff. It'll last 100 years if you take care of it. So if you've got a large stockpile, unless you're out there actively, you know, participating in combat, it's going to last you a while. One thing that I've considered is, even though I've, in my opinion, I've got plenty of shells, is all these people that buy a gun or a bunch of guns and they buy a bunch of ammo and they don't get anything else. And then in the event that everything just goes down, they're starving and they think they're going to go rob people and stuff like that. But either they can't do it, somebody bigger and better than them takes them down before that, or you know, they end up bugging out and they can't carry everything with them. When you go into these empty houses looking for food that's not there, there might be piles and piles of ammo because you can only carry so much with you. So if you bug in and some of your neighbors bug out, die off, or do whatever, you may end up finding, because, I mean, all over the country, I mean, we come on air and we talk about the stuff we have. How many people are out there are afraid to say they've got a gun, they've got 10 guns, they've got 20 guns, they've got, you know, and some people think 500 rounds of ammo is a lot, and it's not. And there are people out there with 500,000 rounds of ammo in their house. I mean, so they're out there. It's just, they don't advertise. So I think that if you're out there scavenging for food, just be ready to grab some ammo if you're in an abandoned house where somebody had to bug. If I bug out, you come into my house, you're going to find stuff because I cannot carry all this with me. I just can't.
Just for the sake of clarity, I do not have 500,000 rounds of ammo.
So getting into this just buying and reloading, it is go out and start shooting, figure out how much money you have to budget, how many rounds you want to shoot. If you want to shoot, let's say you want to shoot 1,000 rounds a month. Okay, that's 12,000 rounds a year. That's more than 95% of the nation. Okay, let's say you want to do that. You know, let's say you buy it from me. I was
going to say, head over to Sport Shooters Ammunition and begin stocking up now.
So that's anywhere between $200 and $220 to buy it from me. If you buy it from a store, it may be a little bit more than that. Whatever. Look and see. Maybe you only have $150 a month to spend. Well, you're not going to be able to shoot unless you reload that 1,000 rounds a month. Okay, so then you start going, okay, what's the cost? And then start doing your research like what Travis did. How much will it take for me to buy and reload that 1,000 rounds a month. And then you start looking at, you start looking at cost comparison, and then, you're like, okay, if there's no more ammo, am I going to still shoot 1,000 rounds a month? If so, you got to start bulking up. And then if you are getting into this mindset where I may reload, start picking up your brass, because that's something you've already bought that you can reuse.
Tony?
If you're on the move, you're not reloading. That's just not going to happen. If you got to run, you're not reloading.
So reloading is, I look at reloading as that's going to be your practice, and that's it. I mean, because if shit hits the fan, unless you're staying in, and you're having to fend off hordes, you're going to be moving it. Reloading ain't going to help you.
Okay. We do have another question, guys. I want to move on to this one. This question is from Patriot in the Dark. Best all metal hammer fired. He said assault pistol. Maybe he means combat pistol. I should buy next. Concealed carry size. I'm going to say, for me, dollar for dollar, and in Foos, I'm not trying to suck up to you or anything. I would say there's probably a CZ75 compact, or maybe would there be some way you can go, or is there some CZ variant that would be all metal, hammer fired, concealed carry model?
Yeah. There's CZ75 compact. That's the steel frame. The PO1 is it's aluminum alloy frame. It's a little bit lighter, but hammer fired. I carry a compact, all steel frame.
Okay, there we go. So that'd be one option for it. What else do you guys think? I mean, all metal. I mean, Sig's got some more compact models you can buy too that are all metal, hammer fired. If you want to go that route, also like a 228, or if you look into
Star model BM.
Okay, yeah, that'd be another good one too. Yeah. If you want to go hammer fired.
This one's out of my wheelhouse, so I have no idea.
Okay.
But the thing is you also, if you're going to do that, you also have to look at cost of and availability of magazines. If you get a CZ, dude, Metgar all damn day. Star model BM, and it's going to be harder to find mags. So you got to start looking at that too, because mags are disposable.
Vanessa Kitty says, what are your wood cutting tools? Vanessa, if we're talking like outdoors, I've got a steel MS291 chainsaw, and then a Craftsman chainsaw that I bought, just like a 60 cc's or something like that. 18-inch bar. I bought that like 5 years ago. And that's what I use for wood cutting. Man, I don't ask for shop stuff for like carpentry, things like that. I don't have a lot, just like a skill saw and a sawzall, and that's pretty much it.
Do you have fuel to?
Oh God, do I? Yeah, you ought to see the stock, man. I've got at least 6 of the cans of the premixed steel fuel. That's all I run through it. And I've also got 2 gallons of bar oil, one for winter mix, one for summer mix, and I've also got the steel 2-cycle oil. I've got a 6-pack of that I can mix with gas if I want to mix my own. And then I also have like 6 cans of Ceph, which I buy at Walmart, the small engine fuel. That's the 90. It's like a higher octane premixed fuel. It's like $6 a can. I've got 4 of those because we had trees on our property, big trees that were always dropping limbs. So I was always having to cut up wood and split wood. I mean, I've got a hydraulic log splitter. I've got some big trees out back that at some point may have to cut down. So yeah, steel chainsaws are interesting. There's a lot of people that buy them that have issues with them. I don't know if they've gotten cheaper, but one thing that people don't like about the new steel chainsaws coming out is they've got a self-oiler for the bar. And people don't like that because you can't control the oil flow that comes through the bar onto the chain. They do it because it makes the chainsaw more efficient. There's less drag. My Craftsman has an adjustable oiler, which I really like. For the steel, I just run, this is going to sound crazy, I run the winter blend oil year round, whether I'm cutting in July or I'm cutting in January. And you got to keep an eye on the tank because the oil flows out quicker, but it also, you can visibly see it spraying the wood or spraying on concrete, to make sure, because a lot of guys complain about the bar not getting enough oil. So I'm a big fan of steel, but that's just me. When you go from the Craftsman to the steel, it's like going from a 67 Camaro to a Porsche 911. Steels are so incredibly smooth and vibration isolated. You could use it all day and you won't get the vibration through your hands that you do on an older chainsaw. And I'm just saying, when you try one, it's like, oh my God, this thing is amazing.
So yeah, also get a good axe and to be able to swing it and shit like that.
Oh yeah, I've got a maul, I've got a hatchet, and a big 8-pound whatever.
But also you're going to have to condition
log
your
splitter.
Hands. You have to condition your hands for it. Get a 20-pound sledge and an old freaking tire, and just swing the sledge into the tire. That's a good workout. You're conditioning your hands, conditioning your muscles.
Shoulders,
Shoulders. I mean, shoulders, back, abs, basically waist up. You'll get your thighs and stuff into it. But that's stuff that you will need to have developed. I know I don't do it. I know there's a lot of stuff I'm saying that I don't do. I need to do it, but.
Storm and Norman's got another question for us. This is a good one. And again, some of you guys think this can never happen. Some of you think this could happen. If and when the next anti-gun president is at the helm, do you foresee an insurrection of civil war when they finally attempt to disarm the populace? If Pelosi would push for that national disarmament, there was a threat of using an executive order for calling gun violence a national emergency, which would then lead in the confiscation of all firearms. That's going to be the thing that's going to light it up right there. You start going door to door and force house searches, people are not going to put up with that, and that's when I think you're finally going to see it happening. Right now, there's people that are already fighting back against police that are coming back to get their stuff. David, Maryland, example. I'm sure there's been other examples we haven't heard about yet.
Wasn't there a guy that had a no-knock raid, and he ended up shooting a couple cops?
I'm sure it's happening. I mean, if it turns into that, I mean, you sit there and say, oh, it would never happen. Guys, look at the rest of the countries around the world. We're a very, very unique country with the freedom that people have. There's a lot of countries where there's been that disarmament before of people, and people don't have guns.
There's nothing special. There's nothing special or unique about the United States.
Well, the Second Amendment that allows us to have guns.
No, I'm talking about the people.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing special about United States citizens that's other than Constitution, but that's a document that's people are the same worldwide. So there's if someone is going to do it in Europe, it's going to be done here.
So let's just get dark for a few moments here. If this happened and the police showed up at your door, or some sort of military unit showed up at your door to confiscate your guns, what are you going to do?
Die.
Okay. I mean, that's, you can say, well, yeah, but then your family is going to be without you and this and that. Okay, but then you're giving into tyranny, and look what it's going to lead to them. You want them to be slaves 20, 30 years from now once there's no guns in the hands of the populace? And again, I'm not trying to go all tinfoil hat and be all dark and evil, but if it happened, I mean, you hear about this kind of thing happening in the event of like an emergency. Like if there's some sort of emergency declaration in an area where the police or the army can go door to door and confiscate or looking for supplies, what are you going to do?
Okay, the emergency declaration that they can look for supplies and stuff and confiscate has been misconstrued. That has been around forever. Okay. And it is they can requisition something. They can, how a cop can commandeer a vehicle? It's the same thing. It's got to be in the line of duty. It's got to be something they need. If you've got your 6.5 Grendel or whatever it is, they're not going to come knocking on your door asking for ammo. Not to mention the military's got more ammo than you can imagine. So they're not going to come take your 9mm ammo because they need to feed their sidearms. They're going to be borrowing your backhoe. They're going to be borrowing your flatbed, that sort of thing. Okay, that's what that order is. People have misconstrued that like they've misconstrued so many things and tried to turn it into something. Just like these people calling for the next revolution in the Civil War, they are the biggest chicken shits out there. They will not be out there shooting. They want you to do it for them. Going and what are you going to do? You're going to grab your AK, you're going to go down to the state capitol, and you're going to kill the cop that just showed up for work that day? No, you're not. You're not. So these people that are running their mouths, they're making us look like a bunch of nut jobs, and that's what the left wants us to be, a bunch of nut jobs, and we're not. We are not going to have a revolution. We are not going to have a civil war. We're going to try to handle this legally. We're going to try to handle it by the book. We're going to try to handle it all kinds of passive ways. I think that if they actually tried to do door-to-door confiscation, that some SWAT teams are going to get shot. But in general, I think what they're going to do is they're just going to keep banning, and we're going to keep complying. And there's going to be people who don't comply, and their stuff's going to be hidden. There are people in Australia that have guns that are unregistered that they were told to register, 25 years ago. They've had different amnesty programs where people have choked and they've turned in a few guns here and there, but overall they've got a bunch of unregistered guns in their country because there are some people who said, I will not comply, but they're also not going on YouTube going, look at me, look at this gun that I never, just like there are so many people in this country that won't speak out because they're afraid they'll get fired. They're afraid their family will shun them. They're afraid of their neighbors finding out they've got guns. They're afraid of red flag laws. They're afraid of all kinds of things. And I understand they're in a bit of a situation, but they're also not going out there voting. They're not going out there showing up at the rallies. They're not writing their senator. They're not doing all kinds of other things too, because they're so afraid they're going to be on a list. Well, when everything's banned and everything's illegal, and now you're still hiding in your house and you're hiding everything you own, the only person you got to blame is yourself for not taking the risk while there's still a chance to do something about it. But I get so sick of all these people saying, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna bull crap. You are not. And you know what's interesting is a lot of the people that are saying this have no military combat or security experience. They just like to go out in their backyard and do mag dumps and stuff. Yeah, well, have you ever been shot at? It's a whole different feeling when bullets are coming back the other way. So I think we don't do ourselves any justice by making ourselves look like the nut jobs that they say we are, because we are not. When there's a mass murder, somebody like that workplace violence thing the other day in Chicago, right? Mm-hmm. That ain't any of us here. But when people we associate with talk about the coming revolution, the anti-gunners look at us just like somebody who decides to shoot up their job because they got fired. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that, people.
All right. Deceived Toast has a question for us. Are Aguila mini shells with a mini clip adapter gimmicky? Aguila? I think if you can get those mini shells to run through your shotgun with no issues, then go for it. If it's going to give you the slug rounds, you can double the number of slug rounds you can put in your shotgun. Yeah, why not? If they run well, do it. You know, I don't have any experience with it. I've read about them. I've seen guns that use them.
Those Aguilas is the same primer, same amount of powder, maybe a little bit less shot, but relatively close. The only thing it doesn't have is the wad.
Okay.
It has a smaller wad. So basically, it's the same power and everything. It's just in a smaller round. They don't run through semi-autos because you are trying to put something that, is built for a 2.5 or 3 inch shell, and you're sending something that's an inch and a half through it. It's not going to run because it's not designed for it. But as far as the ammo, it's the same. It's like having a 9mm versus 38.
Sounds like a typical wife complaint there.
What? Oh.
Argerizer's asking a question. He was wondering if he was banned. He goes, my question's disappearing. The moderators might hold your question for review if you're putting something up there that's promoting, say, drugs.
I got the same thing a little earlier, Travis.
Yeah.
I typed in better start stacking up on jelly beans, and it wouldn't let it come through. So I had to type it again. The second time it let it come through.
Okay. So yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going on? It could just be an issue with YouTube right now. It could just be. Here's another one. The PSA AK G3 is your first AK, Agorizer. Yeah, I think so. I think PSA makes some solid AKs. I've watched a lot of reviews on their newer ones. Read about what they put into the build quality and stuff. You got forged trunnion, forged parts. I mean, I would say that'd be a good one. I would personally just go for a Wasser. I mean, just go with what works. And that's the thing about the AKs. They are definitely going up in price right now. You can get some of these like Riley Defense or some of these other entry-level models for $499. For a while, I mean, I've got an AMD 63. You could get those for $450 back in the day when they were just like a year ago. So they disappeared. Yeah.
If you want to get a US or any AK, make sure you get one that Robski has put 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 rounds through, and talk about, because his are going to be production line. He doesn't go out and say, "Hey, give me." It's AK Operators Union.
AKOU 47.
Yeah, 47. Go ahead and look at shit he has. He's giving favorable reviews right now for the PSA. There's always a couple issues with them. But
it's the overall wear and tear. How well is the bolt carrier group holding up? Is it closing on a no-go gauge or a field test gauge? How well is the piston holding up? And also the front trunnion, is it showing a lot of heavy wear? I personally, I would just say go for a Wasser. That's just me, just because of the original sourcing of the parts in the trunnion. I know that Classic Farms has been advertising their Radom Polish AKs, but they're not manufactured in the same plant that made the P64 pistols. They're made in the same city, for what it's worth. But they seem to be fairly solid. But for $50 more, you can get a Wasser. So, I don't know. That's just me. I would try one, and then PSA does have a lifetime guarantee on their rifles too. I mean, that's not a reason to buy it, but know that if something happens a year or two down the road and you got a couple thousand rounds down the pipe and it does close on a no-go gauge, you can send it back and get it repaired or get it replaced. So that's something to consider too.
So that's something else. If you would take if you get an AK, get it, also spend the $30 for a field gauge.
Yep.
Okay. If it's starting to get close on a field gauge, send it in.
Yep.
If it closes on a field gauge, do not shoot it. It's out of headspace.
Yeah.
Especially if you get one that is American made, spend $30. That thing will last forever.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another question. Justin Haycock, is 22 LR good for SHTF? I think so, because you can carry 500 rounds with you in a bag, and you could use it for hunting. You could lay down some sort of suppressive fire if you had to. I mean, some of these rifles, these 22s that you have, they'll have 16, 20, 30 round magazines. What do you guys think? 22 LR for SHTF? Doesn't take a lot of space. It's inexpensive.
If I had to bug out, 22 is what I'd take with me.
Grab a Ruger 1022 or a nice bolt action 22. Just if you had to grab something,
if that's all you got, yes. If that's not all you got, heck no.
Let's see. Jorge Cortez wants to know, what are alternative types of weapons you could train and buy to use in case you run low on ammo or out of ammo? Man, I don't know. I would say a knife. Definitely take some sort of training on a combat knife.
Yeah. I've carried knives my whole life and sharp edge weapons my entire life, and there's nothing ever going to replace a basic knife. You can use it forever. You can resharpen it. As long as you don't actually break the blade off on something, it'll last you pretty much forever.
There's a police officer that I know, and I was talking to him last week, and he had said, he goes, he was showing off some of these flashlights that he's bought, and he goes, I'm telling you, man, he goes, a flashlight and a good knife, he goes, that will get you out of some hairy situations if need be. He goes, that's one thing, you should definitely have a good one. Let's see. Also, I'm trying to see if there's any other questions posted here. Any other questions, guys, at all before we do the drawing? I'm just checking in. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. If we missed your question, go ahead and repost it again. We'll check out and see what you guys have to say. Let's see. Do you guys on the panel have any questions at all? Anything that comes to mind or anything you're not curious about?
Nah.
Okay. I think
I already know everything.
There we go. There we go. Tony knows it all, man.
I hang out with Tony quite a bit, so I know everything by
there
default.
You go. I know everything that he knows because I know everything he knows. Otherwise, okay, I think that's probably it for viewer Q&A. Then that was pretty simple. So they're just putting out some suggestions out there. Bow is a good option for an alternative weapon, maybe a crossbow possibly. Go all Daryl, I suppose. 8-cell Maglite, that makes a good little clunker. Definitely. So we'll go ahead and do the drawing at this time. So if you guys are just joining in, what it was is we've hit 15,000 subscribers on the channel. I wanted to give something back. So if you wanted to be in the drawing, you had to go over to GunTube and post a comment on my 15K subscriber video. And I wanted to get GunTube some exposure. That video got some good views on it too, which is good. And so over on GunTube, if you posted a comment on what you're going to do for the 2A in order to promote the Second Amendment this year in 2019, you posted that comment, you were put in the entry. Before we started this podcast, I did show off the sheet that had all the names on it. I cut them all up into strips. And David Bowling, I'm going to take a page out of your playbook. I've got the ammo box here.
It has to be shaken obnoxiously. It
will be. It will. Aren't you glad you shook the heck out of it? There were 39 or 40 entries. You've got some pretty good odds here. So I want to talk about what I'm giving out for this drawing. It's a lot of just fun stuff. I'm just putting stuff in there that I think a person can use. SS Pawn here in Lexington, Nebraska donated a 500 lumen Nebo Slim flashlight. It's got magnets all over it, so you can stick it up, hang it, recharge it. It'll go 500 lumens at 2 hours. Or 50 lumens at 10 hours and make a nice little emergency backup light. I've got a 3 to 9x40 scope I'm going to throw in that's never been used. I've got a Magpul t-shirt. I've got patches and stickers from gun channels. Sport Shooters Ammunition has provided the prototype Makarov patch. Okay, prototype first run. The real one is actually right there. The one that Foo sent me. So if you don't know the story about this, I'll tell you real quick. I wanted a Makarov. I had it in my shopping cart. Foose and I were in the same podcast chat, and he had it in his shopping cart. He bought his. I was fumbling with my debit card to put the numbers in. I went to check out. I got Foose. Foose got the last one. So now Foose sent me a Makarov patch, so I finally got my Makarov. So I got Foose's Makarov. So it says, here's your Mac. So you're going to get this prototype first run patch. Yeah, what else we got in there? Oh, I've also got a saddle that'll go over your rifle. It's got a built-in cheek riser and a shell holder for a rifle. So that's definitely something cool. And a bunch of knives. You're just going to get a bunch of stuff. And a deck of the Old West playing cards from Gun Channels. I'm going to throw that in there for you, too. So you're going to get this ammo box full of stuff. And then you're also going to have a box with this ammo box that's going to have other stuff in it, too, that won't fit in the ammo box, if that makes sense. Originally, I was just going to do this. And I thought, no, there's more stuff going on. So, all right, so we're going to obnoxiously shake it. Go ahead, Tony.
You're able to give all this stuff away. You ain't paying us enough.
Come on, Travis. That's hardly obnoxious.
There we go. How's my wife's gonna wake up? What are you doing? Obnoxiously shake it, David. I don't have that massive hand strength that you do. So moo butt. Thank you. I'm a prototype patch junkie. I want them all. Good.
You should be wearing orange while you do that.
I don't have any. All my Blaze Orange is upstairs. I have nothing orange. Nothing orange in here I can put on. Oh my God. I can go grab like a little Thanksgiving banner, I suppose, and drape that over me, but that would just be weird. Okay, so we're going to draw this. If you get it, I want you to message me through GunTube. And just, give me a mailing address that I can send this to. There we go. Is that obnoxious enough? Flip it around a little bit. All right. So let's go and do the drawing. Okay, here we go. Lid's opening up. Let's see who got it. Anybody that's in here is going to get it. It could be anybody on the panel. There was no stipulations. You just had to post some kind of a comment.
I'm saying it right now. It's rigged.
Who's? Look. I just can't do this right now. I think we're just going to talk a little bit longer. No, I'm messing with you. All right.
And
Okay,
Travis P11 is the winner.
All right, so here we go. We're going to pull it out. That sounded bad. All right, here we go. Jonathan Orlowski. You got it. Jonathan Orlowski. Hashtag not my drawing, right? Well, you never know about the game you have to play to win. So, Jonathan, I need you to message me through GunTube. I will get this stuff packed up. I will get it sent off to you. So these are gifts courtesy of SS Pawn and Sport Shooters Ammunition. Otherwise, okay, so that is Jonathan Orlowski. Now, maybe Jonathan has a different screen name over on YouTube. We don't know. You pronounce Gizzard Gary the wrong way. Sorry about that. All right, so there we go, guys. That's it for the drawing. Got that all taken care of. I'm going to keep that off to the side. And for everybody else, I appreciate you guys entering over there. We'll probably do another one at 20. My channel lasts long enough. We'll see what happens. And then also I'm going to do some Patreon exclusive drawings here coming up pretty soon too, just so you guys know. So, wow. Okay. It's been a busy couple hours here for you. We talked about bulk food and water prepping. We talked about a little bit of reloading, viewer Q&A. We have the drawing. Is there anything else you guys want to throw in there before we go? I'll take that as a no. Okay. All right.
Everybody, please pray for warm weather for those of us that are trapped in the cold.
Yes. We're going to be below freezing for the next 5 days here in central Nebraska. It's still 13 degrees out right now with light snow. Apparently, I ran my snowblower for an hour and a half last night, helping people clean up the neighborhood, the sidewalks, the driveways. It was pretty ugly here. Otherwise,
can you do that with a shotgun?
Clean up the drive. What do you scoop? No. We got some elderly neighbors that live here in town. They can't shovel their sidewalks. We're talking people in their 80s and 90s. So I mean, I've got the snowblower out. It's massive. I just run it down the sidewalk. I come back, hit the other side of the street, come back, hit a couple driveways. The snowplow, the snow thrower is my favorite tool behind the chainsaw. Snowblower is definitely number 2. So yeah, we're looking at.
Everyone out here is complaining about cold and snow. I'm at in mid 40s with a light rain off and on this weekend. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
We're gonna finally hit above freezing. Thursday is what we're looking at right now. Thursday we're gonna get to 30.
Okay, Calaveras is like this. We freeze for freedom.
Friday.
So.
Oh my God, it's gonna be cold.
Said, Squib.
Well, I remember when I lived in California, I never checked the weather because every day was nice. But,
I knew I should have took that job in Phoenix. Oh my God.
Everything's a trade-off, man. Everything's a trade-off.
Right now, it's 27 here.
Give me some of that Jeez, need some of that heat. I know, and I want to go to the range so bad. I've got the ammo now for the Desert Eagle. I'm going to do a Desert Eagle range test, and it's just too cold to want to go out. I might just have to throw the coveralls on today and head out, or at some point this week go out. So anyway, all right, guys. So that is Caliber Corner episode number 81. We're going to see who was joining us over on the gun channel side this morning. We did have a little crowd over there having a lively discussion about what's best to can and jar. So over there, I did see Paper Plane Crash over there. Dano's over there. Ohio 45 ACP in the house. Patrick is also over there. Sean Ponnery was with us. Tony, I think you chimed in on that side. And on the YouTube side, we've got Tread joining us, Jason Stewart, Poor Conservative, Sean Newman, Jorge Cortez, Pink Panther 69, AC 97, Midnight Range is with us, Gizzard Gary, Poor Conservative, Sean Newman, if I didn't say so, Agarizer, I got to get that figured out. Calaveras is over there and over here. I did see a lot of other people. Scott's out there. P79 was with us too. Let's see, anybody else? SS Pond was with us. Vanessa Kitty, TDR joining in. Gen Z 2A is with us also. TDR, Pink Panther 69, Scott P79, Moo Butt, Sketchy Roll out there too. That's probably about it. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Frank the Tank Hellman was with us today also. And Rob D. Justin Haycook out there also. So guys, Storm and Norman with us too. All right, guys. So thanks for joining us today. Hopefully next Saturday we'll have another episode for you. Episode number 82. I'll go through the viewer request topics and see what people are interested in. Remember, you can just go ahead and email me at thecalibercorner@gmail.com. Any topics you want us to discuss, and I'll do that. You can post a comment on this video on YouTube or on gun channels if you want to, and we'll try to answer your questions and take care of anything you might have. So let's go ahead and hit into some outros here. Tony, we're going to start with you. Any parting words, bud? Anything you want to say before we go?
Everybody have a great weekend.
Definitely. It's Saturday. It's early. Stay warm. Throw another log on the fire. Turn your AC up if you need to.
Yeah.
Those of you that live in nice warm places, be thinking about us. I'm just numb to the cold at this point, literally and figuratively. So, Squib, anything you want to say before we go, bud?
No, thanks for the invite. Good show. Everybody have a good weekend. Stay warm, except you, Calaveras. You're always warm.
I don't know. He's in the 40s. That gets a little
that's
chilly.
Warm. Come on, man.
I know. That's practically shorts and t-shirt weather. You get up to 40. Yeah. When you're dealing with the weather in the teens and you get up to 40 feels like 60 because you're like, oh, it's so much warmer now. You know, your perception of heat and cold is totally whack when you've been cold for so long. So
it was in the upper 20s yesterday. It was in the upper 20s yesterday afternoon, and I did a perimeter walk of the factory in just a short sleeve t-shirt, no coat. I mean, I had boots and whatever, but I'm walking in the snow, no coat.
Yeah,
you know, you get used to it.
Yeah,
it's way worse when it gets up to 56 all of a sudden. Then the next day it's 10.
Yeah, that's what we had here in Nebraska. Wednesday was 55 and sunny. I was walking around shorts and t-shirt. Then the snow came in that night. We had 4 inches of snow and ice the next morning.
Yeah, when it's 10 degrees and then the next day it's 56. I mean, you just want to be Porky Piggin all day.
Man, it's just crazy. All right, David, anything you want to say before we go, bud?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I got a couple. First,
yeah.
Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Travis P11. Check out his channel. Check out gun channels and guntube.org.
Cool.
If you're into reloading, most of us all out there know the Crazy Scotsman. There's a couple videos on YouTube, but if you go to the Reloaders Network, he's doing a really awesome giveaway for a beginner reloader. So there's going to be a beginner's reloader pack. Super cool stuff. Go check that out on the Reloaders Network. And then tomorrow morning when you wake up, go to guntube.org and my exclusive will be there.
Cool. Make sure you guys definitely check it out over there. All right, cool. Foos, anything you want to say before we go?
Sports Shooters Ammunition.
Check it out. And so if you haven't been stocking up on ammo and you want to get a good price and you just want to get it delivered to your home, okay, just go ahead and message Foos. You go to Facebook, type in Sports Shooters Ammunition LLC. It'll pop up. You can message him. Hopefully have a website up and running here soon, and you guys can get stocked up. So
yeah, I'm going to get with Nice Strike today to start on that venture. Right now 125 grain, $9 a box. I'm looking at 147 grain. Going to try to. It's probably going to be about a buck more.
It's still fair. I mean, $10 a box is what I pay at Walmart for 115 grain brass Federal, and that's nothing fancy. That's nothing, you know, special. So I love the 124 grain that I've been shooting. 124 is really light shooting.
It's 125. Yeah. So it's 125 grain bullet moving out of a 4.5, 475 inch barrel at about 1040. So NATO is 124 at 1100. So and I'm sure you shot NATO stuff. That NATO stuff feels a lot hotter than mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this is amazing. And maybe it's just psychological, but it probably is physical. You notice a difference in the recoil. I mean, when I was doing my little Olight test, I burned through 100 rounds of it or whatever I did, and it was nothing.
So what you need to do next time you go shooting, get some slow motion of my stuff versus regular, you know, and just slow motion of seeing that muzzle rise.
Oh, it just definitely feels much more controllable. In fact, I got my friends that I shoot with in the summertime. I'm going to get them some to send back with them also when they go. So cool, man. Plus I can keep the brass when I'm done. It's a bonus. Yep. There we go. It's not steel case. It's not aluminum case.
It is reused brass, but I roll size it. It's good stuff. I mean, like some may be tarnished and stuff, but that's just, you know, the color. You know, they're all equal on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, Calaveras, anything you want to say before we go, bud?
Just thank you for the invite, and hope all of you, you guys in the free state stay warm with the weather that we've been having.
Oh, it teases us. It's nice one day, and then it's cold the next day, and that's just part of being where we are in this part of the country, I guess. So, all right, and then real quick, guys, we got is Rick's Life as I See It on this afternoon. What do we have for this afternoon on Gun Channels? What's coming up?
That's the only thing I know of.
If you go over to Gun Channels, you can click on the program guide. I think is it 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock? 3 o'clock
Central, 3 o'clock Eastern.
Okay, so 2 o'clock Central. Cool. All right, so make sure you guys check it out. That's a really good podcast to listen to. Lots of good stuff. Get over to Gun Channels. Get over to GunTube. You guys can support GunTube on Patreon. You know, $1 a month just to help Night Strike keep the servers running, to keep getting us space so we can keep posting our two-way message out there. Because again, if my channel disappears on YouTube, I'm still got a presence over on GunTube and Gunstreamer and UGEtube. You know, I'll be a smaller audience, granted, but it's still going to be exactly the same. So, all right. Sean Newman says mid-70s here in Florida today. Why would I live anywhere else? Sean, I hear you, man. I really want to. When I retire, Florida's. You can bail out when you need to. That's why you just go to your. That's why you go to your bug out location.
He's overrated.
Gun laws.
Ask the people that survived through Katrina.
No. Think about this. Florida's got. They have a lot of gun laws that are going to be coming down the pipes.
Yeah.
You can't hear this, but I'm flipping you off.
Oh, man. So there we go. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Caliber Corner number 81. We've had a good time today. We'll hopefully be back next Saturday, 8 a.m. Central Time. Tell your friends. Like and subscribe. Mash the bell so you don't miss anything. And we will talk to you guys next week. Same time, same place.
Good day, everybody.
Adios, Felicia. Adios, Felicia.
Bye, Alicia.